Yo guys, what is up? In this video, I'm going to be going over how to do proper top-down analysis. We're going to be looking at NASDAQ. This should be easy because it is and it has been in an uptrend for an extremely long time. The only time or the only moment it really wasn't in a downtrend or uptrend, sorry, is when it was in this little downtrend here. But other than that, it really has been going up for as long as it's been publicly traded, which has been a very long time. So as you can see, if you do some technical analysis on it, it actually follows trend lines and such very nicely. It is a very retail oriented instrument, right? So you can see like here, when it hits this trend line, it starts to react and push up, right? So that's not how we trade, but it is just something to kind of note about this. It's a little bit interesting to me. I've always thought it was kind of cool that it follows retail really well, but you can actually see that it does follow smart money too. So let's go through smart money here a little bit. And I'm going to mix this smart money topic into the conversation, right? So if you look here, what do we have? We had some relatively equal lows right here, relatively equal lows that were swept out with this candle. And then we broke structure and ended up mitigating here. So if we look at what price is doing here, higher time frame. So this is like a little intermediate top down because this isn't like the big picture, but it will give you a good idea of what you should be looking for. So like if we look at the structure, we can clearly see that this was a low, right? High, low, and then a high up here, right? So this was the BOS in the direction of trend right here. So this is just getting a higher time frame bias. Here's a BOS right here. Oops, not oops, BOS. So BOS to the upside here, right? And now we have our higher time frame bias. We have a leg retracement leg, this swept liquidity, and then caused market structure. So this was a really good area to enter a long position. Right now, let's see what happened here. So this is our higher time frame bias. And if we go to the lower time frames, I'm sure there was some lower time frame entry that you could have found here, but this is actually really easy order flow to follow. So I'll take this here, drag it over here. So it's the same idea. So we're getting our higher time frame bias in the sense that we are looking at where is the structure, where are good POIs. This one was easy. It was a leg, pullback leg, and you can clearly see where the run on the liquidity was, right? You can see it here. And in fact, it was even further because this buying candle just generated even more liquidity. So generate more liquidity, swept it out. Now this is the origin of this move. This is really good POI in general to take this trade off of. You could have refined it to like this wick here because this wick mitigated this candle and this candle filled in balance. So you could have taken the trade off here. Now what happens? We get a push up, a break of structure to the upside again. And you can see here, this is the last doji candle before the true momentum that came into the market to push us higher. And this trend line here. So like I said, NASDAQ does follow trend lines very nicely, but they do just function as kind of areas of liquidity. Like you can see this here. If I adjust it, we had a trend line here, 1, 2, 3, 4. It functions as liquidity in the sense that we end up running these lows out as areas where price is just going to aggressively target. You can see how quickly and impulsively price took these levels out. So we have gotten our bias here, right? We had a leg, pullback, leg, pullback, leg. So just higher highs and higher lows. That's literally how we're looking at getting a higher time frame bias. Now, this higher time frame, this is the weekly chart. So it is, significant price action, right? This isn't just little intermediate or intermediary movements on the 1 minute or 1 hour even. These are big time frame moves, and you can see it's just following order flow nicely here. So we're gathering our bias now with this. This was a leg, right leg, pullback leg. So really, this was your entire bullish move that you would anticipate a pullback in. So if you pull a fib here, could be looking at the 78.6, right? You can see that there was actually a really nice reaction with this candle. It traded right into the 78.6, pushed up nicely, right? Now, what else do you notice? So we had our leg and we had our POI at the 78.6. And in addition to that, we had relatively equal lows right here. So relatively equal lows right above the 78.6, price runs it out and then tries to push up. So again, just gathering a bias, looking at the structure. What are we doing? Higher highs and higher lows. Okay, then we're in an uptrend. We're going to try to buy this thing up, right? Easy. Now that's how you go about finding your higher time frame bias. Now here's the thing though. So we just traded all this in here, but we can look at the even larger movements. You can see all these huge movements. This is just a ginormous uptrend, right? And again, find where you're trending and where your structural levels are, right? So this is, NASDAQ is a good example and it's not a good example. It's a good example because it does follow structure most of the time, but it's a bad example because it's been in an uptrend for an extremely long time. And just as a side note, like I said, guys, what do you notice? It actually respects the technicals very well. You can see this trend line here, and then it actually taps right into that trend line and then goes up. But you can see what else did it trade into, right? It traded into this inefficiency that traded into this. So let's look, let's get our bias. Let's mark off our structural levels. So here we had a high, lower low. So until we trade above this, we're in a downtrend. We trade above, so now we're bullish again. So it's a high, low, high, low, high, right? So this is what the higher time frame is doing right here. And now we can just look at this little example here, right? What do we see? We see a low, high, low, high. And then where's the origin of this move? The origin is right in here, right? There's the origin of that move. What does price trade into? Price nicely trades into this sell to buy, and it also runs out all of these lows right here, right? So again, it's about getting a structural bias, finding POIs, and then looking at what is a logical area to play price off of. Like this here isn't a logical area to play price off of because there are a lot of equal lows right here. So why would you try to buy right above equal lows? That's not smart. Price reacts and then pushes down because we have a lot of liquidity here, right? And then also what you guys can see, I can try to do bar replay on this. I'll do a little bit of bar replay so we can really get a good idea of what I mean when I say top-down analysis, right? So let's see, this was our structure, right? And then our origin was right down in here. That's what this just traded into. This was the origin of the move here. This is the last sell to buy before price really started to move up. Tons of equal lows right here, right? So we trade right into that. And then we react nicely. And what you can see right here is a little break of structure. This is a little break of structure right here. So break of structure right there. Yes. Now we want to see a retracement, and I don't know where it's going to retrace. I haven't looked at this. This is from 2012. I was still a child, so it's not like I've ever seen this before. Right here. So top down, what do we have? Top down, from the top down. That's what top down means. We had a low, higher high. So this is our leg to the upside. And also let's see if we can pull fib. So this is like my exact method of doing it is I like to find my structural levels and then pull fibs. Honestly, that's literally how I do it, like every time. So you can see price traded right into the 78.6, didn't close below, just wick past it. And then we had structure on the lower time frame. So this is where the top down part, this is where the down part comes in. The down part is working your way down, looking at where you're at on the lower time frame. So you had a low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low. Now this is a high because on the lower time frames it would be not just a wick, it'd be a body. So we broke above this. So now we have our lower time frame structure, right? And when I say lower time frame, yeah, this is still the daily, but it's lower relative to the weekly. So you can see what do we do, or what did I say? So we get that BOS, we have an impulsive leg, I pull a fib, I look at my POIs. So I got my structure, got my fib, look at my POIs, where are my POIs? Imbalance right here, have this doji candle. These are both really good areas. I'm actually going to look at the 61.8 fib, not the 78.6, because it looks like if I were to mark up the 50% of this inefficiency, so from here to here, rests right around the 61.8. I don't want to miss an entry based off of that. So I'll add another box at the 61.8 to the 50%. So it's like right in here, this is the zone. So this is my refined zone, my refined entry level right here. So I'm saying price should tap into here and then head up. And if it leaves without us, it leaves without us. But this is gathering a top-down bias. Okay, so it did not quite run into this, but what you can see is this BOS, leg, BOS, and then what happened? Right here. Equal lows, right? So now we have our bias. This is where the top down gets easy. We know what we're doing. We're in an uptrend, right? High, low, high, low, high, low. Potential higher low. It's not confirmed. This higher low right here, I say it's potential because it's not confirmed until we get a break and close above this high here. All right. So we haven't gotten that. So this is a potential higher low. What do we see? We see a BOS, pullback, BOS here. So now we're just in a continuation pattern, right? BOS right here. And where can we look for our POIs? Honestly, price should trade into this. I have very little doubt that it won't. And this is just, again, working top down. We can even drop down more. I don't know if I'm going to try because this is 2013 and I don't want to lose all the progress I made. So let's see what price does. Price did not pull back. And again, what did it do? Generated tons of lows, ran them out. Where is it at? The origin of the move is right here. So it was BOS here. So pullback BOS. Now pullback BOS up here. Right. So BOS. Now this is the sell to buy that created that move. Right here, you could even try to refine it down here, but it was kind of already filled with this. So you can see that this did mitigate that. So you could say this wick would be a good POI because it is not yet mitigated. Let's pull fib. So again, just higher time frame narrative and then dropping down. Higher time frame narrative. The weekly swing points are here, 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 and here. So we know we want to make a higher high. Now we broke structure here. We created a higher high, low, higher high, low, higher high. So we know that we're working to make a new weekly higher high. Right. And now this is our leg to the upside. 78.6 lines up nicely with that level that I have. And look at that. There you go. You can see price mitigates and ends up going long. I've never seen this chart before. It was literally just coming up with it on the spot, coming up with where likely levels are. Now these lows I wouldn't classify this as a swing low that created the high because it left relatively equal lows. So I pull my fib like this. You can see it tapped right into the 78.6, but you can, you see this, right? Taps right into that and then heads up. So now what do we have again? BOS here. I'm gonna get rid of it and just do it like this. So BOS right here. BOS, higher, come on. Higher high. And now here's our low. So let's see when it starts to slow down and chill out. Okay, this is now in a retracement leg. So structure, we've now made a new weekly high or high. So what can end up happening, right? Let's look at this. So again, mark off your structure. I got my structure. High, low, high, low, high, low, high. That's my structure. Pull a fib, find your POIs. Guess where my POI is? Relatively equal lows swept out here with this candle. Here's my POI right here. Just following the mitigation, right? Following the mitigation on here. Should just trade down into this. But now since this is a weekly, this is one weekly leg right in here. So you could see price from here to here, have a pullback all the way down into these levels, breaking this structure, breaking this, and still maintaining a bullish character because this is a big weekly leg. These are just intermediate legs, but that's not to say you can't try to just play the continuation higher. Like it could just come down to here, continue up and create another weekly leg. So let's see. There you go. What did it do? Missed the POI, pushed up, low. Here's your new high. Following structure, right? So where's our BOS? BOS right here. There's my POI. Let's pull a fib. Like this is the way I do it every time, guys. Structure, fib, and then finding good candles. And I'm not going through every candle I see because I've done this long enough to where good candles stick out, bad candles don't stick out. But typically they'll end up resting right around the 78.6. This is a good candle here. Last down close before the up move. Obviously, another good candle right here. Sell the buy, right? Now this is demand that caused this supply to fail, so we could see it trade into here. There's also a wick in here that we could trade into. Let's see where price goes. Still hasn't really made a new high. Okay. This is all one leg. This is all one leg to me, but you could argue this was a leg pullback leg. So where's our break of structure? It's the same thing over and over again. So here's the structure, BOS, fib. I'll find my POIs first. So you see the BOS, I'm going to get rid of it. So I'll find my POIs and then pull my fib. So you can see that the fib lines up with the POIs, not that the POIs line up with the fibs. You want to find your POIs first. Doji candle, swept liquidity here. Swept this low, traded into this doji here. So I favor this level right in here. Let's see where the fib is. And we'll do it to the body. 78.6 lines up. See if we can actually get a pullback. It's just been mooning. It is still just going up. Okay. There's another leg to the upside here. And what can you see? So this is just on a tear. It's actually leaving a lot of unmitigated levels. So I'll drag them out. So you can see if price does break down, that it will likely come back to these levels and have very strong reactions off of them. Okay. Now, what do you notice though about this? This is still structure. This is just intermediate structure. So we're still following structure. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Still following structure. Again, bullish on the weekly, and this is the daily, and we're just making higher highs and higher lows. So I'm going to buy this thing up, right? Now, this is a little complicated as a high, low, high, broke down, created a higher high. So for me, it's just like high, low, high, low, high. So this is our entire bullish leg. this took the equal lows here, so you can see that right here. Relatively equal lows right there with those two wicks. And now we should just see a reaction off of this candle here. This is my POI. This is a really deep retracement, so I'm not quite sure if the 78.6 is really going to line up. It probably will not, but you can see it actually does. So let's see if this plays out. With my luck, it's just going to break through it now. So it actually did not break through it. It barely wicked out the low, but you can see this was a swing right here, trades into it, creates a higher high. So again, BOS, where's a good POI? For me, this is all just a reaccumulation. So this is a reaccumulation that caused the BOS here. So I'm saying price will trade into here and then go on. Looks like it lines up with the 78.6 or the 61.8, sorry. Yep, it does. So let's see if we get a pull back into there. Still tears. You can see structure high, low, high. Oh, there you go. That's a good structural leg right there. So it didn't reach this reaccumulation, but this is a clear high, low, high. So this is the last example I'm going to give, and then I'll talk about one little idea, and then I'm going to wrap it up. So here's a BOS right here. Break your structure, leg. Where's some good POIs? So this is our bullish leg, POI 1, sell the buy. So it's finding your higher time frame structure, finding your POIs, pulling a fib. And then the one idea I want to talk about that I cannot do, or I'm afraid to do really, and then this is the final POI, this is the origin of the move. So there are all of your POIs right there. Now, the one thing that I don't want to talk about, but I mean, you guys talk about it all the time. The down part of top down comes into this. When you get to these levels, you want to see a break of structure and continuation, because this is the working down. That's why it's called top down. You go from the top, aka finding this structure, you work your way down, find the structure on the lower time frames, wait for it to break to confirm your entries. This is a confirmed entry when it breaks above, confirmed entry when it breaks above, and then you look for a pullback to go long. It's the same idea, just apply it on the lower time frames. So you can see, look at that. Huge reaction off that level. Test it once, twice, and then goes, right? Boom, test and go. You can see this is the level that I called out. Again, I've never seen these. I was still like 12 years old when this was happening. Or no, this is 2015. I was like 14 years old. I was not trading at the time, but you can see low, high, low, right? Low, high, low, break above the high. This is that smaller time frame analysis. Break above, test, trade into this wick and go. So that's how you do top-down analysis. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will speak to you all in our next video. Thank you, guys.